Remember, folks, I'm just a Muppet in a chair. Don't take me seriously. Hello, Boomerites. What's going on? Whoa, the camera was not completely in place there. Sorry about that. I'm King Boomer, and I apologize. But I'm continuing down this rabbit hole of food. That is quite interesting. Especially with all the chemicals that we put in our food, which I had heard about, but now I'm discovering the error of our ways over here. Well, not ours, the government's, but I wish they would stop doing that. But this is another video from Weird History Food. Check out their channel. I'll put a link in the description below this video. It's a pretty awesome channel. And this one's called Foreign Foods That Are Banned in the United States. So I wonder why, because I can see why some of our foods have been banned overseas, in Europe, but foreign foods that are banned in the U.S., I wonder what our rationale is over here, or our powers that be, their rationale over here for banning foods from over there. But enough chit-chat, let's get going. Remember to like, subscribe, do whatever you guys want. And let's see why these foods are banned in the United States.
To state the obvious.
Whoops. God, I keep doing that. And then eventually I'm going to hit the space bar and freak out, like I always do.
Americans
Whoa!
love food. And in the U.S.,
let's start that over.
To state the obvious, Americans love food.
Yep.
And in the U.S., you can buy anything imaginable at restaurants, farms, markets, and other stores. Well, almost anything. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration has banned many foods from being sold or eaten in the United States for various reasons. So, today, we're going to take a look at some foreign foods that are not allowed in the USA. But before we get started, be sure to subscribe to the Weird History Food channel.
I already have.
After
You guys
that,
should
please
too.
leave a comment and let us know what other funky food topics you would like to hear about. Now, let's take an illicit trip on the wild side of food.
Haggis. I don't think I've ever heard of
Scotland
that.
is known for a number of wonderful things, like Scotch whiskey, bagpipes, and Sean Connery. But it's also known for eating haggis.
Haggis? What is haggis?
Haggis, for those who don't know, is a type of pudding composed of the liver, heart, and lungs of a sheep, mixed with beef and oatmeal, then seasoned with onions, cayenne peppers, and other spices. This mixture is then packed into a sheep's stomach and boiled.
How revolting!
Oh, I've heard of
This
this.
might not
Okay,
sound
God
appetizing to
damn it!
everyone,
I
but-
swear, it's like you think it's not going to do it this time, but it does it anyway. Jesus Christ! I am literally. I've had it with this fucking. What did YouTube do? What did they do? I'm trying to hit the space bar.
People are real.
Man, I really need to work on my anger management. Anyway, Scotland. Yes, I have heard of your delicacy that you have over there, and it's in. I just didn't know it was called haggis. I knew it was in a sheep's stomach, though. That's what it is, right?
This mixture is then packed into a sheep's stomach and boiled.
How revolting!
It sounds revolting, but I want to try it. Maybe I'm crazy, but I do want to try it. Okay, why is it banned?
This might not sound appetizing to everyone, but Scottish people are really into it. In fact, haggis is the national dish of Scotland, and if you
Did
get
not
it
know
there,
that.
it's usually accompanied by turnips and mashed potatoes. Americans who like haggis, however, are out of luck, because haggis is currently banned from being imported into the United States. The U.S. banned all foods that are made from animal lungs in 1971. Since then, Scotland has made several efforts to influence the U.S. into lifting the ban on haggis and changing federal food safety regulations, but they've come up short each time. Too bad Sean Connery isn't around to ask them.
Beluga caviar.
Sometimes
Heard of
the
this.
U.S. bans foods for health concerns about the dish itself, but there are other reasons John Q. Law might stop you from enjoying a particular meal. For example, to protect an endangered species. Such is the case with beluga caviar. Caviar is, of course, fish eggs. Beluga caviar comes from the beluga sturgeon, which is the largest of the sturgeons, weighing more than 2,000 pounds and measuring more than 15 feet long. It can take up to 25 years for the female beluga to mature and produce eggs. Beluga caviar varies in color from light to dark gray and is the largest grain caviar. Their pearls are the most delicate and have a mild, buttery flavor. In 2005, however, the United States banned beluga caviar from further import due to overfishing. The U.S. was consuming about 60% of the world's beluga caviar, which is considered the Rolls-Royce of caviar due to costing $200 per ounce.
What? What? Holy shit! I'm in the wrong business. I need to start getting some fish and selling some of these fish eggs, man. However, I do think that banning something to save a species is a good thing. So, and maybe it's 60. If you're consuming 60% of the stuff in the world, it's a little bit of a guilt trip I sense there. So,
In fact, beluga caviar was so desirable that the available stock declined by 90%. Overfishing of the beluga can mostly be traced back to poaching in the black market, but that's just academic now. The bottom line is, no beluga caviar for Americans anymore.
I never liked caviar. I never got the appeal, so I'm glad I never spent a ridiculous sum of money on some fish eggs. I've tried it. It's not terrible, but it's not for me. But for those prices, fuck that. I don't know why people would spend that kind of money on that, unless you're like really rich and you do it as a flex or something. I don't know. The Mirabelle plum. I love plums.
So as we've seen, the U.S. might ban a food for being unsafe, or because it derives from a species at risk. But there's yet another reason a food might be banned: trading concerns. Take the Mirabelle plum, which is the small, oval-shaped and dark yellow fruit grown on the Mirabelle plum tree. It's sweet and full of flavor, and is used in fruit preserves and dessert pies. The fruit can mostly be found in France, where 70% of the world's Mirabelle production occurs. The production of the Mirabelle plum has been supported since 1996 by a protected geographical indication to help guarantee its authenticity. The protected origin designation makes it illegal to import or commercially sell the plums in the U.S. That being said, regular folks can grow them on their own property, as long as you don't try to sell them.
That was a random ass one. I didn't quite get that one.
Unpasteurized milk, or raw milk, is milk that comes directly from an animal's udder and hasn't been heat treated or pasteurized to kill any bacteria. Sounds great, right?
Oh, indeed it does.
Well, it may not be. Raw milk carries a higher risk of being contaminated with harmful bacteria that causes foodborne illnesses than pasteurized milk does. Children...
Yeah, I can see why that's gone down, because even when you get like a short little crash course in like what could be in the food around here, even if you're not in the restaurant industry or food industry or whatever, E. coli is a major concern when it comes to milk. So I saw E. coli come up there, but I didn't. What were the other two?
Well, it may not be. Raw milk carries a higher risk of being contaminated with harmful bacteria that causes foodborne...
Salmonella. Okay. So salmonella in cow milk too, and then listeria? I'm not sure if I've heard of that one. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. But E. coli with the milk is a big concern. Salmonella you hear more with the chicken.
...borne illnesses than pasteurized milk does. Children, in particular, are at a higher risk for these diseases because their immune systems have not yet fully developed. The FDA banned the interstate sale or distribution of raw milk in the U.S., but states are able to adopt their own laws for the sale of raw milk. Given the risk, you might think that states would want to stop people from drinking the stuff, but not so much. In fact, drinking and consuming unpasteurized milk is 100% legal in all 50 states. That being said, only 13 states allow the sale of raw milk in retail stores. Of the other 37, 20 states prohibit the sale of raw milk, and 17 states allow the sale of raw milk on the farm in which it was produced. And at the very least, many of the states that allow the selling of raw milk require a warning label informing consumers about the risk of pathogens that can be found in the milk. There is currently something of a movement in the United States to consume organic and locally grown foods. Some believe that
Yeah,
raw milk
there
is
is.
more nutritious and provides...
There's actually entire grocery stores dedicated to that right now. Believe it or not. Entire grocery stores dedicated to selling organic foods. Which sounds better, honestly. So,
good bacteria for the body.
sassafras!
Sassafras oil is extracted from the dried root bark of the sassafras tree. The tree, in case you want to go looking for one, stands anywhere from 20 to 40 feet tall, with slender branches and orange and brown colored bark. The leaves are oval and can grow to 3 to 7 inches long, and the flowers are small and of a greenish or yellow color. Historically speaking, sassafras has played a big role in various cultures around the world. For example, many Native American tribes use it for various medicinal purposes, including to help with acne, urinary disorders, and fevers. It can also be found in Chinese medications to help treat rheumatism and trauma. The twigs from the plant were once used as toothbrushes, and sassafras was also used as an early anesthetic and disinfectant. Not only that, but sassafras was found in many distinct foods in the US, and it was known as a key ingredient in many root beers and teas. Sounds pretty useful, right? Well, don't start celebrating just yet. The FDA prohibits all sassafras bark, oil, and saffrole as flavorings or food additives. Sassafras is no longer considered safe for human consumption. It was actually banned all the way back in 1979 after research linked it to cancer. Also, when too much sassafras oil is consumed, poisoning can possibly occur.
Really? Okay. We're told.
The ortolan is a small, colorful bird in the bunting family, a category that also includes American tree sparrows. Once upon a time, in a faraway land called France, the ortolan was a chief ingredient in a highly controversial meal. The recipe called for the bird to be cooked for 8 minutes and served with a head attached. The bird was then meant to be eaten whole, including the head and bones. Due to its rarity, the killing and selling of the ortolan was banned in France in the 1990s. But that didn't stop poachers who continued to catch the small bunting and sell it to local restaurants.
Jesus. Now, look, I'm not going to knock the French for doing this. Well, maybe I am a little bit. But that just eating a bird whole. The only bird I've ever eaten... Oh, well, I mean, a chicken's a bird, a flightless bird. I eat chicken almost every day. Oh, God. But, anyway, the only bird that I've ever eaten where I'm like, yes, this is a bird that flies, at least that I can think of, is a duck. I've eaten duck a few times. Duck is okay. Nothing like chicken, though. But eating these little tiny sparrow things, that just seems weird to me. It just seems a little bit weird. Again, I don't mean to knock the French, but that's a strange one. I don't know what to make of that.
In fact, the law was so inconsequential that France's League for the Protection of Birds claimed that the ortolan population dropped 30% even after the ban was enacted. This forced the government to enact more stringent enforcement in 2007. But the killing of the rare bird is less controversial than the barbaric way in which it is killed. It starts with the birds being trapped during their migratory season and kept in covered cages. Since the ortolan eats more at night, covering the cages cruelly tricks them into gorging on grain, even to the point where their bodies double in size.
They actually do that to chicken here in some way. I think they've kind of gotten away from doing this to chicken. I forget what they were feeding the chicken to make them, blow up like that. But that's not unheard of.
This is a less gruesome variation on an alleged ancient practice in which the bird's eyes would be plucked out, fooling them into thinking it was night so that they would eat more. Either way, once the ortolans are fattened up, they're thrown, still alive mind you, into a vat of Armagnac, which both drowns and marinates them. France now strictly enforces the ban on killing ortolans. In fact, the killing, cooking, or smuggling of the bird anywhere in the European Union or the United States is currently a crime.
Good. I can really get behind that. I did not like that at all. That was very... It's just weird. It's like a little sparrow, man. I mean, forget the fact that it's fucking cruel. It's just, you're going to eat a little sparrow, and I've heard of people eating pigeon. I've heard pigeon is actually good, but pigeon's bigger than that little thing. Like pigeon can actually get to like about this big, not huge, but a decent size. But that little thing, you're gonna waste your time with that. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Kazumarzu, translated into English, means rotten cheese. And if that doesn't sound horrible enough to you already, then allow us to point out that it's also known as maggot cheese. Now you're probably thinking something like, okay, it has a disgusting name, but it's just a name, right? Well, this Sardinian cheese is typically soaked in brine, smoked, and then left to ripen in a cheese cellar. So far, so good. But then cheesemakers set it outside, uncovered, allowing cheesing flies to lay eggs inside it. The eggs hatch into maggots, which start feeding on the cheese. The maggots produce enzymes that promote fermentation and cause fats within the cheese to decompose. The cheese becomes super soft and leaves a burn on the tongue when eaten. Local Sardinians
It
say
leaves a burn on the tongue when eaten. Yeah, I bet.
the cheese is only good when the maggots are still moving. If the maggots are dead, then the cheese has gone bad and is too toxic for consumption. Kazumarzu is not in compliance with European Union hygienic standards.
So it sounds like, a couple of these have been banned not only in the United States, but in Europe as well. So, we both look at it and go, I mean, the last two, the bird and the maggot cheese, I mean, damn. Yeah, we both look at that and go, that's no way, Jose. Shark fins!
Movies like 1975's Jaws make it seem like humans have a lot to fear from sharks. But in reality, the reverse is far more true. In fact, finning, the act of cutting off a shark's fin, is one of the greatest threats that sharks face. It's so dangerous because after a shark is finned, it's thrown back in the sea where it may drown, bleed to death, or be eaten by other animals.
What the fuck? The shark isn't already dead? So they just take the fin off and go, thanks, pal, and throw him back in. That's fucked up.
Unfortunately,
And I hate sharks. But even I'm like, that's so fucked up. I'm glad Queen Boomer isn't in this video because she'd be crying to learn this. That's her favorite animal is a shark.
for those who want to protect the sharks, there is still a large market for shark fins to make shark fin soup, which is a popular and luxurious Asian dish. Shark fins are very popular in Asia and can be found in food stores, pharmacies, and fishing villages. The demand for shark fins has led to sharks being targeted solely for their fins. But don't expect to try that soup in the US anytime soon. The practice of finning is illegal in the United States.
Yeah, I'd never even heard of that shark fin soup. Never even heard of that. So it must have been banned here like since before I was born. Ackee fruit.
Ackee appears to be a very delightful and delicious fruit, but appearances can be deceiving. For if the ackee is improperly eaten, it can cause vomiting or even lead to a coma or death. To do it right, you need to know that the ackee's fruit's protective pod turns red and naturally opens, revealing the edible portion, which is the many yellow aril that surround the toxic black seeds. The ackee fruit is originally native to West Africa, but was brought to Jamaica in 1778. In Jamaica, the harmful...
That just doesn't look like you should eat it. It looks like the fruit's trying to trick you. Like, it looks... Because honestly, when I first looked at it, I thought the black part is the part you're supposed to eat. Because I didn't know those were seeds. It looked like a little fruit was poking out of it. But it looks like it's like trying to lure you in so it can do something bad to you. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't like the look of that fruit.
Effects of ackee fruit are known as Jamaican vomiting sickness, and they're comfortable enough with it to have made it Jamaica's national fruit. The fruit can be tried in Jamaica paired with codfish, which is a popular dish. In the US, however, the FDA banned all ackee, though they later allowed the sale of frozen or canned ackee. The import of fresh ackee is still banned.
Yeah, I didn't like the look of that.
The Kinder Surprise Egg is a hollow chocolate egg that holds a plastic capsule that contains
Kinder Eggs. I haven't heard of these in forever.
a toy. The toy is usually a simple collectible, like a tiny bike or miniature beach bucket and pail. They are widely popular and are sold across the world, except in the United States. Not that it's hurting them any. In fact, even without the help from US markets, Kinder sells more than 3.5 billion surprise eggs each year. Kinder Surprise
Wow.
eggs have always been illegal in the United States. The 1938 regulation made it illegal to sell any candy that contains a non-nutritive object. Several efforts have been made to import the chocolate egg into the U.S., but the federal government has continued its ban and recalled the item each time. Luckily for U.S. consumers, Kinder also makes the Joy Egg, which is a more recent version that separates the toy from the chocolate in two sealed halves. The Joy Egg meets FDA regulations and is compliant with the Consumer Product Safety Commission. It's not exactly the same as the Kinder Surprise, but it's close enough so the fans across the U.S. can get their fix. So what do you think? What banned food sounds good to you?
The Kinder Egg sounded good to me. I don't think I've ever had a Kinder Egg, but I've heard of them for my whole life. But I didn't know that it was banned. I knew that it was like, I thought it was like very limited here, but I never ever got my hands on one. But wow, it brought it up again to where at this point I forgot there was a fucking toy inside. But I imagine they ban it because they're not allowed to, because of the suing culture here. They can't, have chocolate with a piece of plastic inside of it. I don't know. I mean, I would guess that's what it is, or maybe just the Kinder people think we're too stupid to not eat a toy. I don't know. There's a variety of reasons why the Kinder Egg could be banned, because the video didn't really explain it. It just said it's banned. But interesting video. These weird history food, I might go on a binge on my own. I don't know if I'm going to keep doing these food type reactions. Maybe you guys like them. I don't know, because you guys like the taste test videos. But I'm tasting your stuff, you know what I mean? So that's probably more appealing to you guys. But I find these videos interesting. And candies that were pulled for being too dangerous. I see Smarties on there, which is the American Smarties. So that one looks interesting. But yeah, all the videos that are popping up from Weird History Food, they look very interesting. And yeah, what is up with France? Like taking those small little baby birds. It's weird. Maybe I'm the crazy one. I don't know, because I don't like judging other countries' practices. I like judging I could judge our own all I want. But anyway, hope you enjoyed the reaction video. Remember to like, subscribe, do whatever you guys want. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace out, Boomerites.